In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful. Certainly will the believers have succeeded.
What is falah? How and from where can it be obtained? Success is really attained by the believer. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 1. The word falah, translated above as success, has been used in the Quran and Sunnah on numerous occasions. The call to prayers invites every Muslim towards falah 5 times a day. The word signifies the attainment of all desires as well as protection from all misfortunes. Kamas is so comprehensive in its connotation that it may be regarded as the acme of one's desire, but the total falah, where no desire remains unfulfilled or complete immunity from the vicissitudes of fate exists, is not granted even to great kings or to the most revered prophets of Allah. In any case, there is an ever-present fear of a decline in or loss of good fortune, or the apprehension of an impending disaster, and no living person can claim to be free from it. Thus it is evident that total falah cannot be achieved in this world, which is a place of pain and suffering, where nothing is everlasting and everything must ultimately perish. However, this priceless commodity will be available in another world, namely the paradise, and it is there that people achieve all their wishes very promptly. They have all that they call for. Surah Yasin, Ayah 57. In that world there will be no sorrow, no distress, and everyone will enter there with the following words on his lips: Praise belongs to Allah, who has put away all sorrow from us. Surely our Lord is all forgiving, all thankful, who of his bounty has made us to dwell in the abode of everlasting life. Surah Fatir, Ayah 34-35. This verse also suggests that in this world there is nobody who at some time or the other has not been afflicted by pain and anguish. Therefore, on entering the paradise, people will say that they have been delivered from all sufferings. In Surah Al-Alaq, while the Quran says that falah may be obtained by purifying oneself against sins, it also says that total falah may be achieved in the hereafter only. A person who aims at falah must not succumb to the temptations of this world, nay, but you prefer the present life, and the world to come is better and more lasting. Surah Al-Alaq, Ayat 16-17. In brief, while total falah may be obtained in the paradise only, Allah grants falah to his servants in this world also in the narrow sense of the word, i.e. he grants them prosperity and relief from pain. In the present verse, Allah has promised falah to those believers who possess the 7 attributes mentioned therein, and it includes the total falah which can be achieved in the hereafter only, in addition to whatever falah may be obtained in this world. Here one may ask that while the promise of total falah in the hereafter to the believers who possess the 7 attributes mentioned in this verse is understandable, the common experience is that in this world the recipients of falah, prosperity and success, are generally the infidels and the impious persons. On the other hand, the prophets and other reformers have, in all ages, suffered privations of life. The answer to this is that since total falah is to be achieved in the hereafter only, it is inevitable that everybody in this world, whether he is a good and a pious man or whether he is a wicked person and an unbeliever, must face a certain measure of pain and hardship. Similarly, every person, good or bad, has some of his wishes granted in this world. In these circumstances, how is one to decide as to which of these 2 categories is the recipient of falah? The answer to this question can only be provided by the fate which awaits them. Human experience and observations provide sufficient evidence that although the pious people who possess the 7 attributes mentioned above may at times face hardships and tribulations in this world, yet very soon they are released from all distress and they achieve their wishes. They command the respect of the whole world as long as they live, and then after their death, their memory is cherished and revered by all. The 7 attributes of a perfect believer on the basis of which he has been promised falah in this verse, both in this world and in the hereafter. The first and most important attribute, which is fundamental and basic to everything else, is that a person should be a true believer. The other 7 attributes mentioned in the verse are discussed below. The first attribute is khushu, translated in the text as being concentrative during prayers. The literal meaning of this word is calmness, but in religious terminology, it means to bring about a state of perfect concentration in the heart, so that he does not knowingly allow any thoughts to enter his heart other than the remembrance of Allah. It also means that during prayers a person must abstain from moving his body and limbs unnecessarily. Bayan al-Quran, he must, in particular, avoid those movements of the body which have been forbidden by the Holy Prophet and which the jurists have compiled under the general heading, things which are disliked during prayers. Tafsir Majari quotes the above definition of khushu from Sayyidina Amr ibn Dinar, may Allah be pleased with him. Other scholars have given different definitions of this word, but they are in fact further details of what the serenity of the heart and the body means. For instance, according to Sayyidina Mujahid, casting down one's eyes and keeping the voice low is whereas Sayyidina Ali, may Allah be pleased with him, said that is to refrain from casting sideways glances obliquely. Sayyidina Adas says that the word means not toying with any part of the body. There is a hadith from Sayyidina Abu Dihar, may Allah be pleased with him, that the Holy Prophet once said, Allah keeps an eye over his servant during prayers so long as he concentrates his attention on Allah. But when he turns his attention elsewhere and glances obliquely sideways, Allah also turns away from him. Mashari, the Holy Prophet, is reported to have directed Sayyidina Anas to keep his eyes fixed at the spot which he touched with his forehead when performing sajda, prostration, and not to look right and left during prayers. Sayyidina Abu Hurairah, may Allah be pleased with him, says that the Holy Prophet saw a man praying who was toying with his beard and remarked, if this man had khushu in his heart, his body and limbs would have remained calm. How important is khushu during prayers! Imam Ghazali, Qutubah, and some other scholars are of the view that khushu during prayers is obligatory, and a prayer offered without total khushu will be deemed not to have been performed. However, there are others who believe that while khushu is the essence of prayers, and its absence deprives the prayers of their true purpose, yet it cannot be regarded as an indispensable condition for the prayers to be valid, and its absence will not render it necessary to repeat performance of the prayers. Hakam Ulama has written in Bayan-ul-Qur'an that while khushu is not a necessary condition for the validity of the prayers, yet it is an essential element for the acceptance of the prayers by Allah, and from this point of view, it is obligatory. Tabarani, in his book Al-Mujam al-Kabir, has related a hadith on the authority of Sayyidina Abu Darda, may Allah be pleased with him, that the Holy Prophet said, the first thing that will be taken away from this ummah is khushu, so much so that a time will come when no one will be left to practice khushu. The second attribute of a good Muslim is that he abstains from frivolous and vain things. Lagwa, translated in the text as vain things, means useless talk and action which do not bring any religious reward, and in its extreme form it may include sinful acts that are positively harmful and must, therefore, be avoided. And in its mild from lagwa is neither useful nor harmful, but it is very desirable to give up this habit. There is a hadith in which the Holy Prophet said, it is a part of one's being a fair Muslim that he gives up all that is useless for him. For these reasons, guarding oneself against useless acts has been described as an attribute of a good Muslim in this verse. The third attribute is zakah, which literally means to purify, but in religious terminology, it means giving in charity a portion of one's wealth subject to certain prescribed conditions, and the word has been generally used in the Quran in this sense. This meaning of the word can be applied in this verse also. However, this meaning of the word in the present context has been questioned by some scholars on the ground that this verse was revealed in Makkah, when zakah was not made obligatory. Zakah was made obligatory after Hijrah to Medina. Ibn Kathir and other commentators have answered this objection by claiming that zakah was in actual fact made obligatory in Makkah, as will be evident from Surah Al-Mu'minun, which is by consensus a Meccan surah, in which the words and pay zakah occur alongside of the words. However, arrangements for its collection and details regarding the determination of wealth liable to zakah, nisab, were settled after Hijrah to Medina. According to this interpretation of the verse, zakah was made obligatory in Makkah, but rules prescribing its various details were formulated in Medina. As regards those scholars who hold the view that zakah was made obligatory after Hijrah to Medina, they believe that the word must be interpreted here in its common literal sense, i.e., to purify one's own self. There is an indication in the verse itself which supports this meaning of the word. It will be observed that wherever obligatory zakah has been mentioned in the Quran, the words used are "an," which refer to the payment of zakah, whereas here the words used are "who are performers of zakah," which clearly indicates that in this verse the word has not been used in its technical meaning. Besides, the word performers is related to performance, and technically zakah is not an act but a portion of wealth, and the use of the word for this portion of wealth needs suitable explanation. If the technical meaning of the word zakah is adopted, then its being obligatory and binding on all Muslims is undisputed, and if the word means purification of soul, then that too is obligatory, and to cleanse one's soul of impurities and sins such as polytheism, hypocrisy, vanity, jealousy, hatred, greed, miserliness is called tazkiyah. All these things are forbidden and are major sins, and it is obligatory to purify one's soul from them. Fourth attribute is guarding one's private parts against unlawful liaison, and who guard their private parts except from their wives or from those slave girls only by their right hand. Surah Al-Mu'minun, ayah 5-6. They satisfy their needs with their wives and their legal bondmaids according to the prescribed laws and avoid unlawful liaison. About these people the Quran says, because they are not liable to blame. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 6, which also means that the sexual desire must be kept under strict control and must not be allowed to become a means of gratification of one's passions.
They who are during their prayer humbly submissive.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 1 for the Tafsir.
And they who turn away from ill speech.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 1 for the Tafsir.
And they who are observant of zakah.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 1 for the Tafsir.
And they who guard their private parts.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 1 for the Tafsir.
Except from their wives or those their right hands possess, for indeed they will not be blamed.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 1 for the Tafsir.
But whoever seeks beyond that, then those are the transgressors.
However, those who seek sexual pleasure beyond that are the transgressors. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 7. Satisfying one's desire with someone other than one's own wife or a lawfully acquired slave. Quarrel is strictly forbidden, and the ban includes adultery. Marrying a woman whom one is not allowed to marry under the religious code is also adultery. Having sex with one's wife or slave. Quarrel when she is menstruating or is confined, or having unnatural sex with them. Homosexuality and bestiality. While most jurists include masturbation also in the ban. Tafsir Bayan al-Quran Qatu by Al-Muhit, etc.
And they who are to their trusts and their promises attentive.
Fifth attribute of a good Muslim is that he should discharge his trust truly and faithfully, and success is attained by those who honestly look after their trusts and covenant. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 8. The word trusts covers everything which a person has undertaken to perform or which have been placed under his care as trust. Since it may be of many kinds, the word is used in plural, so that it may include all sorts of trusts, whether they may relate to the rights of Allah or to the rights of human beings. To perform scrupulously all the injunctions and duties made obligatory by religious laws, and to abstain from things which have been forbidden or declared undesirable, is to look after the trust that relates to the rights of Allah. As regards the discharge of trusts relating to the rights of human beings, these take numerous forms, and the most well-known is that a person must promptly return to the owner on demand any goods which have been in his custody as trust. Any information received in confidence is a trust, and to reveal it to anybody else without the permission of the person who gave it is a breach of trust. Mutual settlement between an employer and an employee of the terms of employment, i.e. the work to be done and time to be spent in the performance of work, and the wages to be paid, is a trust and binding on both the parties, and a violation of this agreement by either party would constitute a breach of trust. Hence, discharge of trust is an all-encompassing word. Sixth attribute of a perfect Muslim is to fulfill his covenant. The word covenant has two connotations. One is a covenant between two parties specifying the duties and obligations of either party and is binding on both, and a breach of this covenant by either party is a fraud and deceit and therefore forbidden in Islam. The other is where a person voluntarily promises to give something to someone or undertakes to do some job. This is known as promise, and its fulfillment is also obligatory under the dictates of Shari. There is a hadith which says, "A promise is like a debt." It means that a promise is like a debt and must be fulfilled in the same manner as a debt must be discharged, the difference being that whereas the repayment of a debt can be enforced through a court of law, a voluntary promise is not enforceable likewise. Nevertheless, the person making the promise is morally bound to abide by it, and failure to do so would be a sin, unless there is a religious ground for his inability to fulfill his promise.
And they who carefully maintain their prayers.
Seventh attribute, and who consistently observe their prayers. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 9. To observe one's prayers here means to offer them regularly at the appointed time, and the word prayers has been used in the plural form to include all the 5 prayers. In an earlier verses, the word salah, prayers, was used in the singular because the emphasis was on khushu, which is the essence of all prayers, whether they are fard, wajib, sunnah, or nafil. A careful study of the above 7 attributes would show that they encompass all the duties which man owes to Allah and to fellow men, and all the laws governing those duties. A person who possesses these attributes and adheres to them is a complete mu'min believer and deserving of falah in this world and in the hereafter. It will also be noted that these 7 attributes begin and also end with a reference to prayers, which suggests that if prayers are offered in the prescribed manner with all their requirements, the other attributes will appear automatically.
Those are the inheritors.
Those are the inheritors who will inherit Firdaus, paradise, Surah Al-Mu'minun, ayah 10 to 11. The good Muslims who possess the attributes described above have been declared in this verse to be the heirs to the garden of paradise. There is a suggestion here that just as the assets of a deceased person must devolve on his heirs, similarly the possessors of these attributes will, without doubt, enter paradise. It should be noted that the possessors of these 7 qualities have been mentioned in the beginning as those who attain falah or success. Then after describing these qualities, it is mentioned in this last sentence that possessors of these qualities will inherit paradise. This indicates that the total falah, success, may be achieved in paradise only.
Who will inherit Al-Firdaus. They will abide therein eternally.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, ayah 10 for the Tafsir.
And certainly did we create man from an extract of clay.
Commentary. In the earlier verses it was explained that man can achieve falah, success, in this world and in the hereafter by spending his time in assiduously worshipping Allah and in compliance with His commands, by keeping his body and soul pure at all times and by discharging the claims and duties which he owes to fellow human beings. The present verse gives an account of the universal and supreme power of Allah, the Almighty, and a manifestation of His power in the process leading to the creation of the human race. If a person whom Allah has given wisdom and intelligence ponders seriously the meanings of these verses, he must necessarily choose the path which would lead him to falah in this world and in the hereafter. And we have created man from an extract of clay. Surah Al-Mu'minun, ayah 12. The word sulala means extract, and means wet earth or clay, and the verse means that man was created from some special elements extracted from earth. Creation of mankind began with Ibn Adam, who was himself created from this essence of earth. Therefore, the first creation has been related to earth, after which the seed of one man becomes the means of another man's creation. 7 stages of the creation of man. In the above verse, 7 stages in the creation of man have been described. These are an extract of clay, sperm, drop, clot, fetus, lump, bones, clothing bones with flesh, and completion of the process of creation by blowing the spirit into the child. A very interesting story about Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him. Qutubah in his commentary has related a very interesting story in which Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, is said to have determined the exact date of the Night of Majesty, and based his reasoning on this verse. The story goes like this. One day, Ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, while sitting in the company of some eminent companions of the Holy Prophet, asked them on what date of the month of Ramadan the Night of Majesty, Laylatul Qadr, would fall. None of them was able to mention a specific date, so they all said that only Allah knew the answer. Sayyidina Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, then turned to Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, who was the youngest among them, and asked him if he had an answer to the question. Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, then said, Amir ul-Mu'minin, Allah created 7 skies and 7 earths. He created man in 7 stages and provided him sustenance from 7 sources. Therefore, in my opinion, the Night of Majesty will surely fall on the 27th night of the month of Ramadan. When Ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, heard this reasoning, he said to the companions, See, this lad has given an answer which none of you could give. This story is reproduced at length in the Musnad of Ibn Abi Shayba. When Sayyidina Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, mentioned the 7 stages of man's creation, he was obviously alluding to this verse. As for the 7 sources of human sustenance, the reference is to the verse in Surah Basa, and therein made the grains to grow in vines and reeds and olives and palms, and thence tree gardens, and fruits and pastures. Surah Basa, ayah 27 to 31. This verse mentions 8 items, of which the first 7 are food for human beings, and the 8th provides fodder for animals. The supreme beauty and eloquence of the Quranic language is evident from the fact that the 7 stages of the creation of man have not all been described in the same manner. In describing the metamorphosis of the human fetus from one stage to the next, the word afterwards has been used at some place, which is a suggestion of some delay in the process. while at other places the particle has been used as a prefix indicating an interrupted succession in the process of change. Some of the changes in the human fetus in mother's womb take a long time to take place, whereas other changes occur in relatively shorter periods. Thus the word has been used in the context of the first two changes. First there is,
Then we placed him as a sperm drop in a firm lodging.
in the next verse, then we made him a sperm drop. This same point has been mentioned differently. The meaning of all this is that the first life, i.e., say, Idna Adam, was created from earth and continued further with the sperm, which is a refined element of the same earth. This is how a majority of commentators have explained this verse. Another view is that extract of clay may also mean human seed, because it is produced from the food which a man takes, and the food grows out of the earth.
Then we made the sperm drop into a clinging clot, and we made the clot into a lump of flesh, and we made from the lump bones, and we covered the bones with flesh. Then we developed him into another creation. So blessed is Allah, the best of creators.
An extract of clay, which changes into the seed. Then we made him a sperm drop. Now it is well known that the production of food from the earth, its absorption in the human body of that special element which changes into the seed, is a long drawn-out process. Similarly, the third stage of the transformation from the sperm drop to clot takes a long time to materialize and has been described by the Quran in the words, Then we made the sperm drop into a clot. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 14. The next three stages, i.e. from clot to fetus lump, from to bones, and thirdly clothing flesh on bones occurring in short periods, is not too remote a possibility, and in describing these three changes the particle has been used which, as has been explained earlier, is indicative of an interrupted succession. The final change in the condition of the unborn child comes when life and soul are breathed into it, and since, according to human reckoning, putting life and soul into a lifeless mass must necessarily take a long time, therefore, here again the word has been used to describe this final stage of transformation, the final stage in human creation, i.e. putting life and soul into it. The Quran describes this change with the words, We developed it into another creature. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 14. This distinction is due to the fact that whereas the first 6 stages in the creation of man are related to the world of elements and substances, the final stage relates to the transfer of soul from the world of spirits into his body, and is therefore described as, i.e., a special or distinct creation, biological spirit and real spirit. We developed it into another creature in this verse is interpreted by Ibn Abbas, Mujahid, Shabai, Ikrimah, Dohak, and Abul Aliya, may Allah be pleased with him, to mean blowing spirit into the body. Tafsir Majari mentions that most probably it refers to the biological spirit. According to its explanation, spirits are of 2 kinds. Biological spirit is a subtle substance embedded in every part of the body of a human being or an animal. This is the spirit recognized by medical scientists and the philosophers. This biological spirit is created after the organs are created. That is why its creation is mentioned in this verse with the word thereafter. The other kind of spirit is the real spirit. It belongs to the spiritual universe. This real spirit was created long before the creation of human beings, and it is these spirits which were assembled by Allah when He asked them, Am I not your Lord? And they answer, When not? This real spirit, having been created long before, is connected by Allah Ta'ala with biological spirit in a manner not known to anyone. Life of man depends on this connection, and when biological spirit of a person is disconnected from real spirit, he dies. Therefore, it is also possible that it is this connection which is referred to in this verse by the words another creation. So, glorious is Allah, the best of the creators. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 14. The word and mean to create something from nothing, which is a very special and exclusive attribute of Allah. Thus, Allah alone is the creator and none else. Neither an angel nor man can create anything. However, sometimes these 2 words are used in the sense of manufacturing, which is no more than the reshaping and assembly by man of substances created by Allah. The man who does this is also called the creator of an article. The Quran says, You invent a lie. Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 17. And again it says about, say, in Isa, I create for you from clay something in the shape of a bird. Surah Al-Imran, Ayah 49. In all these places the word creating has been used in the metaphorical sense to mean manufacture. Here the word creators has been used in the plural, and the meaning is that the ordinary human beings who manufacture things may also be called or creators in the metaphorical sense. Yet Allah is the best among all those creators.
Then indeed, after that you are to die.
Then after all this, you are to die. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 15. The preceding 3 verses were about the creation of men, and this verse, and the one which follows, is about the life to come. In this verse Allah says that after his creation man will spend a period of time in this world, and then will meet his death from which there's no escape. Then he says that man will be raised on the day of resurrection.
Then indeed you, on the day of resurrection, will be resurrected.
Then you are to be raised again on the day of judgment. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 16, so that his deeds and actions in this world may be weighed, and he may be sent to paradise or hell as he deserves. This is how a man's life would end. Further on there is a brief mention of the events which will take place in the intervening period between his life in this world and the life to come, and of the gift and blessings which Allah will bestow upon him. This is prefaced by a reference to the creation of the skies.
And we have created above you 7 layered heavens, and never have we been of our creation unaware.
And we created upon you 7 paths, heavens. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 17, is the plural of which may also be used as a synonym for tier, in which case the meaning would be that Allah created 7 skies overhead, row upon row in tiers. The other and more common meaning of the word is row or passage, in which case the verse would mean that these skies provide a path for the angels who bring commands from Allah to the earth. And we were never neglectful of the creation. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 17. The verse means that Allah did not just abandon man after creating him, but was ever mindful of his needs and provided the means for his sustenance and growth. To this end, he first created the skies, and from the skies he sent forth rains upon the earth, which then produced food for men's nourishment, the divine system of providing water to meet human needs. And we sent down water from the sky in due measure. Then we lodged it in the earth, and of course, we are able to take it away. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 18.
And we have sent down rain from the sky in a measured amount and settled it in the earth. And indeed, we are able to take it away.
The addition of the phrase, in due measure, shows how feeble and utterly powerless man is, because if the very things without which no life can exist exceed a certain limit, they become the cause of death and destruction. Water is a case in point, without which no living thing, man or beast, can survive. Torrential rains coming down from the sky cause a deluge, which becomes a source of misery for human beings. But Allah is kind and merciful, and He sends rains which, while fulfilling man's needs, do not turn into flood except at those places where it is His will that they should be engulfed in water. Another point to consider is that if man was to obtain his daily requirement of water through daily rainfall, that too would cause extreme discomfort and suffering, because he is not by nature adapted to live in an environment where rain falls every day. Moreover, the conduct of business would become impossible in such conditions. On the other hand, if the total quantity of water that men would need for a whole year, or for 6 months, or even for 3 months, were to come down in a single downpour, and people are told to store their quota of water and use it according to their daily needs, that would be an impossible task because, apart from lack of adequate storage capacity, the water would become foul and unfit for consumption. Therefore Allah has regulated the supply of water in such a way that when rains come, the water saturates the earth and the plants, and then it flows into lakes, ponds, and natural depressions, where it is used by men and animals according to their needs. But the water stored in this manner can only last for a limited time, and men of different regions need a continuous supply of fresh water. To meet this eventuality, Allah has designed a system by which very large quantities of water are converted into oceans of ice and snow and placed on top of mountains where the atmosphere is pure and free from pollution. Slowly and gradually the snow melts and the water seeps through the pores in the mountains and flows into the network of underground water channels which carry it to all parts as springs and flow on the surface of the earth as streams, water courses, and rivers. This fresh running water provides drinking water to men and animals and irrigates fields which yield food and fodder for all living things. Another part of the water percolates deep into the ground and becomes soil water and is drawn up from wells. This entire design and process is covered in the Quran by a simple and short sentence, Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 18. A point is also made at the end of the verse that the subsoil water which is drawn from wells has been placed by merciful Allah at a depth from where it can be drawn easily because by its nature, water flows downwards and could have gone down to a depth from where it would have been impossible to draw it out. This is explained by the sentence, and of course, we are able to take it away. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 18.
And we brought forth for you thereby gardens of palm trees and grapevines, in which for you are abundant fruits, and from which you eat.
The Quran then goes on to say that it is from an assured and regular supply of water only that Allah created fruit gardens which produce dates and grapes and many other kinds of fruits. People eat these fruit for their taste and flavor and also preserve some of them for future use as articles of food, as is evident from the sentence, and of them you eat. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 19, and special mention is made of olives and the oil extracted from it because it has many uses and offers many benefits. And since the Mount Sinai produces an abundant crop of olives, therefore a reference has been made to it.
And we brought forth a tree issuing from Mount Sinai, which produces oil and food for those who eat.
And we produce a tree of olive that comes out from the Mount Tur of Sinai. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 20, Sign. It is the name of the area where the Tur mountain is located. Olive oil can be used to massage the body, in lamps to provide light, and in food as a curry or dressing. This has been expressed in the verse in the words, which grows having oil, and a dressing for those who eat. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 20.
And indeed, for you in livestock is a lesson. We give you drink from that which is in their bellies, and for you in them are numerous benefits, and from them you eat.
The reason why olive tree has been associated with the Tur mountain is that this tree first grew on that mountain. Some people have said that it was the first tree to grow on earth after the great deluge in the days of Satan and Nuh. Mashari, then there is a mention of the blessings and the numerous gifts which Allah has provided for the benefit of mankind so that they may ponder and worship Him. The words of the verse are, and indeed there is a sure lesson in the kettle for you. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 21. The lesson to which this verse refers has been described further in the words, we give you a drink from that which lies in their bellies. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 21. Some of the ways in which the cattle serve mankind are that they provide milk, which is a very clear and nourishing food. Every part of their body is put to some use, and their wool, hides, intestines, etc. are all utilized in industries which support a country's economy. The meat of the animals, which are halal, permissible, is a favorite food for all men, and of them you eat. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 21. And finally they are used, together with ships, as mounts and as means of transporting goods from one place to another.
And upon them and on ships you are carried.
In the last benefit, ships and boats are also included, because they are also used in transportation, and on them and on the boats you are transported. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 22. All types of mounts which are run with wheels may also be added to full boats, because they render the same service.
And we had certainly sent Noah to his people, and he said, O my people, worship Allah, you have no deity other than Him. Then will you not fear Him?
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 22 for the Tafsir.
But the eminent among those who disbelieved from his people said, This is not but a man like yourselves who wishes to take precedence over you. And if Allah had willed to send a messenger, He would have sent down angels. We have not heard of this among our forefathers.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 22 for the Tafsir.
He is not but a man possessed with madness, so wait concerning him for a time.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 22 for the Tafsir.
Noah said, My Lord, support me because they have denied me.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 22 for the Tafsir.
So we inspired to him, Construct the ship under our observation and our inspiration, and when our command comes and the oven overflows, put into the ship from each creature 2 mates and your family, except those for whom the decree of destruction has proceeded. And do not address me concerning those who have wronged. Indeed, they are to be drowned.
And the oven gushes forth. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 27. The word means oven, which is used for making flat, round bread, and is also used in the sense of the whole earth. according to some people, is a specific oven in the Kufa mosque, while others believe that it was somewhere in Syria. Sayyidina Nuh was informed by Allah that when water began boiling forth from the oven, that would be the sign of the coming of the deluge. Mashari. The story of Sayyidina Nuh, the deluge, and his ark has been reported in some earlier surahs. See Volume 4, p. 626 to 643.
And when you have boarded the ship, you and those with you, then say, Praise to Allah who has saved us from the wrongdoing people.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 27, for the Tafsir.
And say, My Lord, let me land at a blessed landing place, and you are the best to accommodate us.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 27, for the Tafsir.
Indeed, in that are signs, and indeed we are ever testing our servants.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 27, for the Tafsir.
Then we produced after them a generation of others.
In the earlier verses, the story of Sayyidina Nuh was told, who was sent to his people to guide them along the path of righteousness, and the following verses contained a brief account of some other prophets without mentioning their names and the people for whose guidance they were sent. From certain references and allusions, the commentators have concluded that the verses refer to Sayyidina Hud or Sayyidina Salih, who were sent for the guidance of the tribes of Ad and Thamud respectively. In the present story, both these tribes are reported to have perished as a result of cry from an unseen source, whereas in other verses it has been specifically mentioned that it was the tribe of Thamud which perished from cry, and this had led some scholars to the view that the words, another generation, refers to Thamud. An alternative explanation is that the word, cry, has been used in the general sense of punishment from Allah, in which case it would include the tribe of Ad also.
And we sent among them a messenger from themselves, saying, Worship Allah, you have no deity other than Him. Then will you not fear Him?
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 31, for the Tafsir.
And the eminent among His people who disbelieved and denied the meeting of the hereafter, while we had given them luxury in the worldly life, said, This is not but a man like yourselves. He eats of that from which you eat, and drinks of what you drink.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 31, for the Tafsir.
And if you should obey a man like yourselves, indeed, you would then be losers.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 31, for the Tafsir.
Does He promise you that when you have died and become dust and bones, that you will be brought forth once more?
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 31, for the Tafsir.
How far is that which you are promised?
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 31, for the Tafsir.
Life is not but our worldly life. We die and live, but we will not be resurrected.
There is nothing but our worldly life. We die and we live, and we are not to be raised again. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 37. This is the argument which the unbelievers advance when denying belief in the Day of Judgment. Those who deny it publicly are confirmed infidels, but it is very unfortunate that many Muslims also act in a manner that the same denial can be felt from their deeds and actions. They seem to be totally oblivious of the coming and of the hereafter. May Allah Ta'ala grant them faith to release themselves from the clutches of this belief of theirs.
He is not but a man who has invented a lie about Allah, and we will not believe him.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 37, for the Tafsir.
He said, My Lord, support me because they have denied me.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 37, for the Tafsir.
Allah said, After a little, they will surely become regretful.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 37, for the Tafsir.
So the shriek seized them in truth, and we made them as plant stubble. Then away with the wrongdoing people.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 37, for the Tafsir.
Then we produced after them other generations.
Commentary. And we gave them shelter on a height, a place of rest and running springs. According to Bayan al-Qur'an, this verse refers to the event that a tyrant was resolute to kill Sayyidina Isa and his mother, right from his childhood. They escaped from him and, with Allah's grace, found a place on a height where they enjoyed a peaceful life until Sayyidina Isa attained maturity and was entrusted with prophethood. This commentary is taken from Tafsir of Maarif-ul-Qur'an.
No nation will precede its time of termination, nor will they remain thereafter.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 42 for the Tafsir.
Then we sent our messengers in succession. Every time there came to a nation its messenger, they denied him. So we made them follow one another to destruction, and we made them narrations. So away with the people who do not believe.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 42 for the Tafsir.
Then we sent Moses and his brother Aaron with our signs and a clear authority.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 42 for the Tafsir.
To Pharaoh and his establishment, but they were arrogant and were a haughty people.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 42 for the Tafsir.
They said, "Should we believe two men like ourselves, while their people are for us in servitude?"
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 42 for the Tafsir.
So they denied them, and were of those destroyed.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 42 for the Tafsir.
And we certainly gave Moses the scripture, that perhaps they would be guided.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 42 for the Tafsir.
And we made the son of Mary and his mother a sign, and sheltered them within a high ground, having level areas and flowing water.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 42 for the Tafsir.
Allah said, "O messengers, eat from the good foods and work righteousness. Indeed I, of what you do, am knowing."
Commentary Messengers, eat from the good things and act righteously. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 51. The word means pure and good things. Since things which are forbidden under the Islamic laws are neither pure nor desirable for people who are gifted with common sense, it follows that the word refers only to the things which are permitted under the Islamic Sharia, and which are not only good in appearance, but also pure in their intrinsic nature. This verse also tells us that all the prophets were enjoined by Allah to do two things: eat food which is clean and permissible under Sharia, and to do good deeds. And considering that these injunctions have been addressed to prophets who are impeccable in any case, it is necessary that their followers should strive hard to mold their lives according to these injunctions. This, in fact, is the real meaning of this verse. Scholars have expressed the view that the juxtaposition of these two commands points to the fact that the consumption of lawful food has a very important bearing on human actions, and when a person takes lawful food only, a divine guidance takes his actions along the path of righteousness. But if the food is unlawful, then serious obstacles will prevent the accomplishment of good deeds in spite of his best intentions. According to a hadith, people travel along wearing miles that are covered with dust, and they pray to Allah with hands of praise, calling out, "Lord, Lord." But since they eat forbidden things and their clothes are also made from forbidden material, there is little hope of their prayers being granted. Quote 2 by, thus it is evident that a person hoping that his worship will get him the pleasure of Allah, or that his prayers will be granted by him, must pay scrupulous attention to what he eats and must, at all times, avoid eating unlawful things.
And indeed this, your religion, is one religion, and I am your Lord, so fear me.
And surely this is your creed, a single creed. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 52. The word is used to describe a group or the followers of a prophet. Sometimes it is also used in the sense of faith, creed or way of life, as in the verse, "We found our fathers upon a creed." Surah Az-Zukhruf, Ayah 22. In the present verse the word Amma has been used in the latter sense.
But the people divided their religion among them into sects, each faction in what it has, rejoicing.
But they split up ways from one another, dividing themselves into factions. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 53. The word is the plural of meaning the book, and the verse would mean that Allah had commanded all prophets and their followers to adhere to the one and only faith revealed by Him in all matters relating to the basic principles and beliefs. But the followers of different prophets split up into groups and sects, and each one of them chose a different way of life and adopted a different book in which the beliefs of each group and sect were recorded. sometimes is used for the plural of zubra, meaning fragment or group. This meaning is more appropriate here, and the meaning of the verse would be that these people were divided into sects even in the matter of fundamental beliefs of their religion. It should be noted that the difference of opinion among the mujtahidin, competent Shariat scholars, in some minor issues is not included in this division which is condemned in this verse, because these differences do not cause a division of the religion, nor do the people maintaining these differences become separate sects. Given these interpretative and subsidiary differences, a sectarian color is the height of ignorance, and no religious scholar would support it.
So leave them in their confusion for a time.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 53, for the Tafsir.
Do they think that what we extend to them of wealth and children
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 53, for the Tafsir.
is because we hasten for them good things? Rather, they do not perceive.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 53, for the Tafsir.
Indeed, they who are apprehensive from fear of their Lord.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 53, for the Tafsir.
And they who believe in the signs of their Lord.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 53, for the Tafsir.
And they who do not associate anything with their Lord.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 53, for the Tafsir.
And they who give what they give while their hearts are fearful, because they will be returning to their Lord.
Commentary. And those who give whatever they give with their hearts, full of fear. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayat 60. The word is derived from meaning to give, to spend, and is used in commentaries in the sense of alms to the poor. Another reading of this verse reported from Sayyidah Aisha, may Allah be pleased with him, is, they do whatever they do. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 60, and this covers all good deeds such as charity, prayers, fasting, etc. As for the generally accepted reading of the verse, although it mentions alms to the poor only, yet it would include all good deeds also, as is borne out by a hadith. Sayyidah Aisha, may Allah be pleased with him, asked the Holy Prophet the meaning of this verse, whether those who do these deeds are the ones who drink wine and steal things. The Holy Prophet replied, Daughter of Siddiq, it is not as you say. These are the people who observe fasts, say their prayers, and give alms, yet they are apprehensive lest, due to some mind lapse on their part, all their good deeds may not be accepted by Allah. They hasten to do good deeds and are foremost in accomplishing them. Omad Tirmidhi, Ibn Majah Majari, Hassan al-Basri, may Allah have mercy on him, says that he knew people who did virtuous deeds, yet were more fearful than people who committed evil deeds. Qutubai.
It is those who hasten to good deeds, and they outstrip others therein.
Those people are accelerating towards the real good things, and they are the foremost to attain them. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayat 61. The meaning of is that just as ordinary human beings run after worldly gains and try to leave other competitors behind, these good and virtuous people strive to gain spiritual reward and try to excel others in their efforts to fulfill their religious obligations.
And we charge no soul except with that within its capacity, and with us is a record which speaks with truth, and they will not be wronged.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 61, for the Tafsir.
But their hearts are covered with confusion over this, and they have evil deeds besides disbelief which they are doing.
Commentary. But their hearts are in ignorance lexically means deep water where a person may drown or be overwhelmed. For this reason the word is also used to signify covering or something that conceals an object. In this verse the word means the ignorance in which the hearts of the infidels are submerged and hidden so that no light can reach them, and they have deeds other than that. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 63. It means that in addition to their rejection of the oneness of Allah and their denial of the true faith, they engage themselves in other sinful deeds.
Until when we seize their affluent ones with punishment, at once they are crying to Allah for help.
Their affluent ones, Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 64, the word meaning comfort and prosperity. This verse mentions the divine punishment which will descend upon the unbelievers, whether rich or poor. The rich people have been specially mentioned here because they are the ones who make adequate arrangements to protect themselves against disasters and misfortunes. But when retribution comes from Allah, they find themselves totally helpless. According to Sayyidina Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, the punishment which is mentioned in this verse is an allusion to the crushing defeat which the infidels of Makkah suffered at the hands of the Muslims in the Battle of Badr. Some others say that the reference is to the severe famine which afflicted the people of Makkah as a result of the curse laid on them by the Holy Prophet when they were forced to eat dead animals and cats and dogs. Although the Holy Prophet and his companions, when faced ill treatment from the infidels, used to remain patient and never complain, yet when their suffering and torment became unbearable, the Holy Prophet invoked divine punishment for the infidels in the following words: O Lord, let thy punishment descend hard on the tribe of Mudar, and make their land barren like the land of Yusuf.
Do not cry out today. Indeed, by us you will not be helped.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 64, for the Tafsir.
My verses had already been recited to you, but you were turning back on your heels.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 64, for the Tafsir.
In arrogance regarding it, conversing by night, speaking evil.
Another possible translation of this verse may be as follows: but you used to turn back on your heels, being overproud of it, the Karam being looked after by you, indulging in tales at night, talking nonsense. It is this second translation on which the forthcoming explanation is based. Being overproud of it, the haram, indulging in tales at night, talking nonsense. According to many commentators, the word on it in this verse has a reference to the haram, the sanctuary of Makkah. Although there is no specific mention of the haram in the verse, yet the very close association of the Quraysh of Makkah with it, and their great pride in this association, renders a specific mention of the haram unnecessary. The purpose of the verse, therefore, is to mention the causes of their aversion against Allah's verses. The first factor was their pride in their being the neighbors and caretakers of harem. The other two factors are mentioned in the next two words. The word is derived from meaning moonlit night. It was a favorite pastime with the Arabs to assemble on moonlit nights and tell stories. Thus the word came to be used in the sense of stories and anecdotes and meant a raconteur. Although the word has been used in the singular, yet it is often used as a plural also, as in this verse. This word points out the second reason for the repudiation of divine communications by the infidels of Makkah, which is their preoccupation with petty and frivolous matters such as storytelling, and their lack of interest in divine messages. And finally, there was a third reason for this state of affairs also, namely, that they used to indulge in foolish talk and pass unseemly remarks about the Holy Prophet. The word Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 67, is derived from with a dama mark on the letter and means to speak nonsense, to use foul language. Dan on story, telling after Shah prayers. Storytelling was favored pastime among the Arabs and the Persians since ancient times. This habit was not only time-wasting, but was also the cause of certain evils. With a view to discourage this practice, the Holy Prophet enjoined upon the Muslims not to sleep before the Isha prayers. The philosophy behind this injunction was that all daily human activity ended with the Isha prayers, which should arguably be a man's last action, and which might even atone for his lapses during the day. On the other hand, if, after the Isha prayers, he sits down to while away his time listening to silly and frivolous tales, which in itself is a foolish act, he renders himself guilty of encouraging falsehood, backbiting, and other sins. Another consequence of this evil habit is that such a person will go to bed late, will rise late, and miss his early morning prayers. Say, Ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, used to admonish people whom he found listening to stories after Isha prayers and advise them to go early to bed, so that with Allah's grace they might be enabled to say midnight prayers. What 2, Pi?
Then have they not reflected over the Quran? Or has there come to them that which had not come to their forefathers?
The verses Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 68-69, and mention 5 reasons which might possibly have prevented the unbelievers from accepting the faith brought by the Holy Prophet, and also give a rebuttal of each of these causes. Thus, on the one hand, all the arguments advanced by the infidels for not accepting the true faith have been demolished, and on the other hand, there are compelling grounds and irrefutable evidence which should convince any right-minded person of his error and persuade him to accept the message brought by the Holy Prophet. Their persistence in their unbelief is therefore the result of their unreasoning hatred towards and blind prejudice against the Holy Prophet, to which a reference has been made in the latter part of the verse. Instead, the fact is that he has come to them with truth, but it is the truth that most of them dislike. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 70. In other words, there being no valid and rational ground for repudiating the mission of the Holy Prophet, their opposition may be explained by their dislike of truth and their unwillingness to pay heed to its message. This, no doubt, is due to their love for undisputed power and their reluctance to share it with anyone else.
Or did they not know their messenger, so they are toward him disacknowledging?
Or did they not recognize their messenger? Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 69. One reason for their denial of the true faith could have been if the message was brought to them by an outsider who was a stranger to them and with whose character and antecedents they were unfamiliar. But this argument could not be invoked in the case of the Holy Prophet, who belonged to the noble family of Quraysh, was born in Mecca, grew up among them, and his whole life was like an open book before them. Before prophethood was bestowed upon him, he was known among the unbelievers of Mecca as trustworthy and truthful, and nobody had ever raised an accusing finger on his character and general behavior. Thus they could not take the plea that their repudiation of the Holy Prophet and of the message brought to him was due to their ignorance about him or about his family connections.
Or do they say, in him is madness? Rather, he brought them the truth, but most of them to the truth are averse.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 69, for the Tafsir.
But if the truth had followed their inclinations, the heavens and the earth and whoever is in them would have been ruined. Rather, we have brought them their message, but they from their message are turning away.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 69, for the Tafsir.
Or do you, O Muhammad, ask them for payment? But the reward of your Lord is best, and He is the best of providers.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 69, for the Tafsir.
And indeed, you invite them to a straight path.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 69, for the Tafsir.
But indeed, those who do not believe in the hereafter are deviating from the path.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 69, for the Tafsir.
And even if we gave them mercy and removed what was upon them of affliction, they would persist in their transgression, wandering blindly.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 69, for the Tafsir.
And we had gripped them with suffering as a warning, but they did not yield to their Lord, nor did they humbly supplicate, and will continue thus.
And we have already seized them with punishment, but they did not turn humble to their Lord, nor do they supplicate in humility. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 76. In the preceding verse it has been stated that when the unbelievers are subjected to chastisement for their sins, they plead to Allah and the Holy Prophet for mercy, and when Allah, who is merciful, relieves their suffering, they return to their evil practices and wicked deeds. This verse relates a similar instance when the unbelievers were punished for their misdeeds. However, when they were delivered from their sufferings as a result of the intercession by the Holy Prophet on their behalf, they did not humble themselves before Allah but persisted in idolatry and unbelief. Visitation of famine upon Mecca and its deliverance on the prayers of the Holy Prophet. It has been mentioned earlier that the Holy Prophet had prayed to Allah to punish the people of Mecca with famine, and as a result they were reduced to great straits and were forced to eat dead animals. At last, Abu Sufyan presented himself before the Holy Prophet at Medina and said, "I appeal you in the name of Allah. Did you not say that you had been sent by him as mercy for the whole world?" The Holy Prophet replied, "Yes, I did, and what I said is true also." Then Abu Sufyan said, "You killed the leaders of your clan with sword at the Battle of Badr, and now you are killing those who still survive with starvation. Pray to Allah, I beseech you, to remove this curse from over our heads." The Holy Prophet then prayed to Allah to forgive the people of Mecca and deliver them from the agony of hunger, and his prayer was granted forthwith. The verse, Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 76, was revealed on this occasion and refers to this incident. Majari.
Until when we have opened before them a door of severe punishment, immediately they will be therein in despair.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayat 76, for the Tafsir.
And it is He who produced for you hearing and vision and hearts. Little are you grateful.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayat 76, for the Tafsir.
And it is He who has multiplied you throughout the earth, and to Him you will be gathered.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayat 76, for the Tafsir.
And it is He who gives life and causes death, and His is the alternation of the night and the day. Then will you not reason?
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayat 76, for the Tafsir.
Rather, they say like what the former people said.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayat 76, for the Tafsir.
They said, when we have died and become dust and bones, are we indeed to be resurrected?
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayat 76, for the Tafsir.
We have been promised this, we and our forefathers, before. This is not but legends of the former peoples.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayat 76, for the Tafsir.
Say, O Muhammad, to whom belongs the earth and whoever is in it, if you should know?
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayat 76, for the Tafsir.
They will say, to Allah. Say, then will you not remember?
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayat 76, for the Tafsir.
Say, who is Lord of the seven heavens and Lord of the great throne?
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayat 76, for the Tafsir.
They will say, they belong to Allah. Say, then will you not fear Him?
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayat 76, for the Tafsir.
Say, in whose hand is the realm of all things, and He protects while none can protect against Him, if you should know.
Commentary. And who gives protection and no protection can be given against him. Surah Al-Mu'minun. Ayat 88. The meaning of the verse is that Allah alone can deliver a person from pain and suffering as He wills, but there is none who can save a person from divine punishment. This is true of this world because nobody can stop Allah from rewarding virtuous people, nor can anyone protect someone whom He chooses to punish. And the same is true of the hereafter also. Quote 2 by.
They will say, all belongs to Allah. Say, then how are you deluded?
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayat 88, for the Tafsir.
Rather, we have brought them the truth, and indeed they are liars.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayat 88, for the Tafsir.
Allah has not taken any son, nor has there ever been with Him any deity. If there had been, then each deity would have taken what it created, and some of them would have sought to overcome others. Exalted is Allah above what they describe concerning Him.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayat 88, for the Tafsir.
He is knower of the unseen and the witnessed, so high is He above what they associate with Him.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayat 88, for the Tafsir.
Say, O Muhammad, my Lord, if you should show me that which they are promised.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayat 88, for the Tafsir.
My Lord, then do not place me among the wrongdoing people.
Commentary. O Prophet, say in prayer, my Lord, if you are to show me in my life that punishment which they, the infidels, are threatened with, then, my Lord, do not place me among the wrongdoing people. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 94. There are many verses of the Quran which contain warnings of punishment to the unbelievers. While the award of punishment is a certainty on the Day of Judgment, it is possible that it may be awarded in this world also, and even during the lifetime of the Holy Prophet. And when Allah's wrath descends upon a people, it is not confined to sinners alone, but sometimes it afflicts virtuous people too, who may not be punished in the hereafter and may even be compensated by extra rewards for the undeserved punishment which they suffered in this world. The Quran says, and beware of a punishment which shall not fall on the wrongdoers. Only Surah Al-Anfal, Ayah 25. In these verses, The Holy Prophet has been told by Allah to pray to him that if his wrath were to descend upon the infidels in his lifetime, then he should be removed from their company. This prayer was suggested to the Holy Prophet in spite of the fact that he was impeccable and infallible, the intention being that he should at all times remember Allah and beseech his mercy so as to increase his own reward in the hereafter.
And indeed, we are able to show you what we have promised them.
And of course, we do have the power to show you what we threaten them with. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 95. Some commentators say that even though Allah has promised, on account of his regard for the Holy Prophet, that he will not punish the entire community while he, Holy Prophet, lives among them, and Allah is not to send punishment upon them while you are in their midst, Surah Al-Anfal, Ayah 33, yet the punishment of some selected persons in special circumstance does not negate the promise. The punishment of the infidels of Makkah through famine and through their defeat at the hands of the Muslims at the Battle of Badr had taken place in the lifetime of the Holy Prophet, which is emphasized in this verse, that we have the power to show you what we threaten them with.
Repel, by means of what is best, their evil. We are most knowing of what they describe.
Repel evil with that which is best, Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 96. Allah instructs the Holy Prophet to counter evil with good, oppression with justice, and cruelty with mercy. These virtues of conduct have been taught by Allah to the Holy Prophet and are generally observed in settling affairs among the Muslims. Later on, these instructions were repealed insofar as the infidels and the unbelievers were concerned when Allah permitted Muslims to embark on jihad. Nevertheless, even during jihad, the Muslims were told to adopt a humane approach towards the enemy. For example, they were forbidden to kill women and children or the priests who did not engage in battle against the Muslims. Similarly, mutilation of the dead bodies of enemies was strictly forbidden. It is for this reason that the Holy Prophet is instructed in the next verse to seek protection from Shaitan's evil suggestions even in the battlefields where he may rouse emotions to act against ethics.
And say, My Lord, I seek refuge in you from the incitements of the devils.
And say, My Lord, I seek your refuge from the strokes of the Shaitan, and I seek your refuge from that they come to me. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayat 97-98. The word, the infinitive of hamez, translated above as strokes, means to push, to press, and sometimes is also used to mean to make a call from behind. This is a very comprehensive prayer often invoked for protection from the guile and mischief of Shaitan, and the Holy Prophet has urged upon the Muslims to recite it frequently in order to avoid sudden bursts of rage which are brought about by the promptings of, and which cause people to lose self-control. This prayer is also very effective in repelling other assaults of Shaitans and jinns. Sayyidina Khalid, may Allah be pleased with him, suffered from insomnia, and the Holy Prophet suggested that he should recite the following prayer before going to bed. I seek refuge with Allah's perfect words from Allah's wrath and his punishment, and from the evils of his slaves, and from the strokes of the Shaitans, and from that they come to me. Sayyidina Khalid, may Allah be pleased with him, did as advised, and was soon cured of insomnia.
And I seek refuge in you, my Lord, lest they be present with me.
From that they come to me, Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 98. According to a hadith in Sahih of Muslim, the Holy Prophet is reported to have said that Shaitan meddles in all human affairs and tempts people to do evil deeds, and that this prayer is the best protection against his attempts. What to buy?
For such is the state of the disbelievers, until, when death comes to one of them, he says, My Lord, send me back.
My Lord, send me back, Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 99. When death approaches an infidel and he senses the punishment that awaits him on the Day of Judgment, he wishes for a return to this world, so that by performing good deeds he may escape the punishment which he has richly deserved. Ibn Jarir has related a story on the authority of Ibn Jurayj that the Holy Prophet once said, At the time of death, when a good Muslim perceives the angels of mercy and all the luxuries of paradise spread out before him, and the angels ask whether he wishes to be sent back to the world, his reply invariably is in the negative. He refuses to return to a place which is full of woes and suffering and misery, and only desires to be taken to Allah's presence. But when the same question is put to an infidel, his answer is, i.e., he wishes to be sent back to the world.
That I might do righteousness in that which I left behind. No, it is only a word he is saying, and behind them is a barrier until the day they are resurrected.
Never. It is just a word he has to utter, and in front of them there is a barrier till the day when they will be resurrected. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 100. The word barzakh means barrier and implies anything which intervenes between two conditions or two objects. For this reason it also means the intervening period between death and the Day of Judgment. The meaning of this verse is that the wish of the infidel who has died to be returned to this world is fruitless, because he has reached the barzakh from which no return is possible, and a second life cannot be given until the day of resurrection, when all the dead will rise and be brought back to life.
So when the horn is blown, no relationship will there be among them that day, nor will they ask about one another.
Commentary. Thereafter, when the trumpet, is blown, there are no ties of kinship between them. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 101. On the Day of Judgment, the trumpet will be sounded twice. The result of the first sound will be that everything, the earth, the skies, and every living thing in between will perish, and when the second sound is given, every dead thing will come back to life. This is clearly mentioned in the Quran in the verse, "Then it shall be blown again, and lo, they shall stand beholding." Surah Az-Zumar, Ayah 68. There is difference of opinion whether in the present verse the reference is to the first call or to the second call. According to Ibn Jubair, Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, thought that it refers to the first call. On the other hand, Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Mas'ud says that reference here is to second call, and according to Atta, may Allah have mercy on him, as Sayyidina Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, also supports this view, and which has also been adopted in Tafsir Majari. Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, may Allah be pleased with him, says that on the Day of Judgment every man and woman will be assembled in the gathering place, where a herald appointed by Allah will identify each person by his name and his father's name, and invite anyone from amongst those present who has a claim against him to come forward and receive it. This proclamation will please everyone, a father having a claim against his son, a wife having a claim against her husband, a sister having a claim against her brother, and vice versa, and they will all come forward to receive their dues. The present verse describes the situation. There are no ties of kinship between them. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 101. The same situation has been described in the verse, "Upon the day when a man shall flee from his brother, his mother, his father, his consort, his sons." Surah Abasa, Ayah 34. Difference between the condition of believers and infidels in Mahshar, gathering place on the Day of Judgment. The condition described above will apply to the unbelievers only, who in their selfishness will abandon their dear and near relatives. As for the believers, Allah has said, "We shall join their seed with them." Surah At-Tur, Ayah 21, which means that the children of good Muslims, if they themselves are believers also, will be united with their parents. According to a hadith, the Holy Prophet said, on the Day of Judgment, when everybody will be dry with thirst, Muslim children who had died as minors will come out carrying water from paradise, and when people will ask them for it, they will reply that the water is for their parents only whom they are searching. The gist of this discussion is that whereas in the case of infidels no one will be of any help to each other, nor will anyone recognize the dear ones in Mahshar, the case of Muslim will be exactly the opposite. The believers will help each other and will also intercede for other Muslims. There is also a hadith which Ibn Asakir has related on the authority of Sayyidina Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, in which the Holy Prophet said, "On the Day of Judgment all relationships arising out of a common ancestry or from marriage ties will be severed except in my own case." Scholars had interpreted this verse to mean that all the Muslims of the Ummah of the Holy Prophet are part of his family, because he is the father of the Ummah and his wives are the mothers. Nor will they question one another. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 101. However, there is another verse, "and advance one upon another," asking each other questions. Surah As-Safat, Ayah 27. Discussing this latter verse, Sayyidina Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, says that in Mahshar there will be different stations, and the conditions in each station will be different. There will be a time when nobody will speak to anybody, but in another station, when the terror which earlier overwhelmed the gathering abates, people will converse with one another. Mashari.
And those whose scales are heavy with good deeds, it is they who are the successful.
So the one whose scales of good deeds turn out to be heavy, then such people are the successful ones. 102. And the one whose scales turn out to be light, then such people are the ones who harmed their own selves. In Jahannam, hell, there to remain forever. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 103. In this verse there is a comparison between perfect Muslims and the infidels and their deeds and the end which awaits them. There is further evidence in the Quran that in the case of perfect Muslims the pan in which evil deeds are placed for balancing will be totally empty, whereas in the case of unbelievers the pan in which the good deeds are placed will be empty. At another place the Quran says we shall not assign to them any weight. Surah Al-Kahf, Ayah 105, meaning that on the day of judgment the infidels or their deeds will carry no weight. This is so far as the perfect Muslims and the infidels are concerned. As for the Muslims who have committed sins and whose good deeds and evil deeds will be placed in the two pans of the scale for weighing, there is no specific mention about them in the Quran, which is, in general, silent about the punishment and reward of erring Muslims. Perhaps the reason for this is that during the period when the Quran was being revealed, all the companions, may Allah be pleased with him, were upright men and generally free from major sins. But if somebody committed a sin incidentally, he repented and was forgiven by Allah. Majari, there is a verse of the Quran which deals with people who have a mixed bag of good and evil deeds. They have mixed a good deed with another that was evil. Surah Tawbah, Ayah 102. Sayyidina Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, says about such people that if their good deeds exceed their bad deeds, even by a single deed, they will go to paradise. And if their evil deeds exceed their good by a single deed, they would go to hell. But a believer Muslim will be sent to hell for the purpose of purification only, just as gold and iron and other metals are subjected to heating process to remove their impurities, and as soon as they are purged of their sins, they will be admitted to paradise. Also, according to Sayyidina Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, on the day of judgment the weighing scale will be so precise and finely tuned that it will be tipped by a grain of rye, and a man whose good and bad deeds are of equal weight in the scale will join of people of wrath and spend a while between heaven and hell waiting for a decision. But ultimately he too would go to paradise. Ibn Abi Haytham, Majari, the above story of Sayyidina Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, deals only with believers who have committed sins, and makes no mention of unbelievers. How will the deeds be weighed? There are different versions about the method for the weighing of deeds, and all of them are derived from hadith. One version is that the believers and the infidels will be weighed bodily in the scale of justice, and the infidel will not be able to tilt the scale, however obese and corpulent he may be. Bukhari, and Muslim, quoting Abu Hurairah, may Allah be pleased with him. Another version says that the scrolls on which their deeds are recorded will be weighed. Tirmidhi, Ibn Majah, Ibn Hayyan have taken this version from Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with him. And according to a third version, a man's deeds which were weightless and intangible in this world will be made solid on the day of judgment and will be placed on the scales and weighed. Tabrani has related this version from the Holy Prophet on the authority of Sayyidina Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him. The words and the text of all these hadiths are given in full in Tafsir Majari, which may be consulted if required. Abdur Razak has quoted a hadith in his book under the chapter on the merits of knowledge on the authority of Ibrahim Nakai, which supports the just preceded version. This version has it that on the day of judgment a person's deeds will be brought for weighing, and when placed in the pan they will fail to tilt it. Then something resembling clouds will be brought and put in the pan of good deeds, which will then weigh down. The man will then be asked what was it that lent weight to the pan of his good deeds, but he will express his ignorance. Then he will be informed that the object in question was his learning, which he used to impart to other people. Bahabi has included a hadith in which he heard from Ibn Imran ibn Hussein, may Allah be pleased with him, that the Holy Prophet said, on the day of judgment the blood of the martyrs will be weighed against the ink of scholars, with which they wrote books on the science of religion, and the latter will be heavier than the former. Majari, after giving the above-mentioned versions about the weighing of deeds, Tafsir Majari says that it is not wholly inconceivable that man himself and his deeds may be weighed physically, or that he and his record of deeds may be weighed together. Thus, there is no inconsistency in these three versions.
But those whose scales are light, those are the ones who have lost their souls, being in hell, abiding eternally.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 102 for the Tafsir.
The fire will sear their faces, and they therein will have taut smiles.
And they will be disfigured therein. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 104. The word is used for a person whose lips do not meet and leave his teeth fully exposed, which looks very ugly. It is said that the upper lip of a person consigned to hell will be drawn up, and his lower lip will be drawn down so that his teeth will remain visible at all times.
It will be said, were not my verses recited to you, and you used to deny them?
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 104 for the Tafsir.
They will say, Our Lord, our wretchedness overcame us, and we were a people astray.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 104 for the Tafsir.
Our Lord, remove us from it, and if we were to return to evil, we would indeed be wrongdoers.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 104 for the Tafsir.
He will say, remain despised therein and do not speak to me.
Do not speak to me, Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 108, according to Hassan al-Basri. May Allah have mercy on him. These will be the last words of the people who are cast in hell, and in reply Allah will say, do not speak to me. After this they will not be able to speak like human beings, but will make animal sounds to each other. Bayhaqi and others have quoted Muhammad ibn Qabid as saying that the Quran mentions 5 requests made by the people condemned to hell. Out of the 5, replies were furnished to 4, but in reply to the 5th Allah commanded them not to speak to him. Thus these are the last words to be uttered by them, after which they will not be able to speak. Majari.
Indeed, there was a party of my servants who said, Our Lord, we have believed, so forgive us and have mercy upon us, and you are the best of the merciful.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 108 for the Tafsir.
But you took them in mockery to the point that they made you forget my remembrance, and you used to laugh at them.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 108 for the Tafsir.
Indeed, I have rewarded them this day for their patient endurance, that they are the attainers of success.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 108 for the Tafsir.
Allah will say, how long did you remain on earth in number of years?
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 108 for the Tafsir.
They will say, we remained a day or part of a day. Ask those who enumerate.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 108 for the Tafsir.
He will say, you stayed not but a little, if only you had known.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 108 for the Tafsir.
Then did you think that we created you uselessly, and that to us you would not be returned?
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 108 for the Tafsir.
So exalted is Allah, the Sovereign, the Truth. There is no deity except Him, Lord of the noble throne.
Commentary. The last few verses of this Surah Al-Mu'minun from verse Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 115 to verse Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 118 have special merit. The Khoi and Thalabi have related from Say, Ibn Mas'ud, may Allah be pleased with him, that he came across a person who was very ill. He recited the above verses into the sick man's ears, and he was cured immediately. The Holy Prophet asked him what he had whispered in the sick man's ears, to which Say, Ibn Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, may Allah be pleased with him, replied that he had recited these verses, Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 115 to 118 in his ears. Thereupon the Holy Prophet said, I swear by him who has power over my life that if a person with genuine faith were to recite these verses on a mountain, the mountain itself may move from its place. Qutubai and Majari.
And whoever invokes besides Allah another deity for which he has no proof, then his account is only with his Lord. Indeed, the disbelievers will not succeed.
See Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 116 for the Tafsir.
And O Muhammad, say, My Lord, forgive and have mercy, and you are the best of the merciful.
My Lord, forgive and have mercy. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 118. Here the object of the forgiveness and having mercy has not been mentioned. What is there to be forgiven, and to whom is mercy to be shown? And this seems to suggest a general prayer for forgiveness, which would include deliverance from harm and suffering, and a general prayer for mercy, which would include the grant of every wish. Since protection from bodily harm and acquisition of legitimate gains is the object of all human activity, this prayer covers both these aspects. Majari, and the reason why the Holy Prophet was commanded to recite this prayer of forgiveness and mercy, even tough he is impeccable, is to impress upon his followers the special merit of this prayer. Qutubai, Surah Al-Mu'minun began with the verse, Success is really attained by the believers. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 1, and ends with, surely, the infidels will not achieve success. Surah Al-Mu'minun, Ayah 117, which shows that success will come to believers only, and that the unbelievers will have no share of it.